Bonjour à tout le monde. Good day, everyone. We are welcome back to our French lessons for this week. This week, we are studying verbs. And our substrand will be reflexive verbs. Now, what are reflexive verbs? When we say reflexive, it means referring back to itself. That means you are doing something to yourself. Let's take a look at the mirror. When you are looking at yourself in the mirror, you see your own image. That means your image is reflecting itself. Your image is reflecting itself in the mirror. So reflexive means you are referring to yourself, or you are doing something to yourself. Reflexive verbs are also called pronominal verbs. Another name for reflexive verbs. These are verbs that are used with reflexive pronouns me, te, se, nous, or vous. So that's M-E-T-E-S-E, nous, or vous. They are always used with reflexive pronouns in sentences. The reflexive pronoun always agrees with the subject of the sentence. So on our next slide, we will learn something about reflexive verbs. Example, I am called. So we realize that we have the verb to call and to be called. To call means to do something to somebody. Example, I am calling Kofi. You are calling somebody. But to be called means you are talking about yourself. Example, I am called Kwame. We are not referring to Kofi again, but then we are referring to yourself. Kwame. I am called Kwame. So on our next slide, we will learn more on reflexive verbs for better understanding. Now let's take a look at the reflexive pronouns. So we have the personal pronoun and the reflexive pronoun. The personal pronoun je, that is I, takes me, M-E. Tu takes T-E, D. Il, L, or on takes C. Il, L, or on takes C. Nous takes nous. Vous takes vous. And il or L, that is the plural form, also takes C, S-E. Il or L, plural form, also takes S-E, C. So we have je taking me. Tu takes T. Il, L, on takes the reflexive pronoun C. Nous is taking nous. Vous takes vous. And il or L, the plural form, that is they, also take C. Now we have some common verbs that are reflexive in French. We have s'appeler, to be called, se réveiller, to wake up, se lever, to get up, se noyer, to drown, s'asseoir, to sit, se doucher, to shower, se promener, to take a walk, and s'endormir, to fall asleep. We have so many French verbs that are reflexive in nature, but these are few ones that we can have here. So we have them again. We take them again. S'appeler, se réveiller, se lever, se noyer, s'asseoir, se doucher, se promener, and s'endormir. Now we have sentences with reflexive verbs. French reflexive verbs. Number one, we have je m'appelle Nana Kwame. Meaning I am called Nana Kwame. I am called Nana Kwame. Now you are not calling someone, but then you are referring to yourself. I am called. So the action is being done by yourself and to yourself. Number 2, je me lave. Je me lave. I am bathing. If you say je lave means I am washing. But if you add the pronoun me to be I am bathing, that means you are doing it to yourself. The action is being done by yourself to yourself. Number 3, nous nous asseyons. We always say that in class when the teacher tells us that we should sit. So the teacher will say asseyez-vous. Then the student will say nous nous asseyons, meaning we are sitting. That means you are doing it to yourself and by yourself. Number 4, vous vous levez. You are standing. Vous vous levez. You are standing. So you realize that je takes me, but in the first place or in the first verb we have appeler, which starts with a vowel. So the E is omitted. So we have M apostrophe instead of me. Then for the lave we have me lave, because we are talking about the first person singular, that is je, I. Then we have nous nous asseyons. So we realize that nous takes nous, then vous also takes vous. Then we move to number 5. Tu te réveilles à 6 heures. Tu te réveilles à 6 heures. You wake up at 6 o'clock. You wake up at 6 o'clock. Tu takes te. Tu takes te. Then we have, for the final part, elle s'appelle Philo. Elle s'appelle Philo. Elle takes S-E-C. Elle takes S-E-C. But here, because appeler starts with a vowel, we omit the E and we put S apostrophe there. So she is called Philo. Merci beaucoup.